Okay, I'm going to start reading.
No. I have to kind of.
Oh, right, the whole thing. Yes, of course.
Yes. Today, March 21st, 2024, it's our 48th meeting, reading Urantia book with Heidi. We keep reading paper 112, Personality Survival. We are going to read the 4th section, Adjusters After Death. 今天是3月21号，2024年，我们的第48次会议，与海蒂读御书。我们继续读112篇人格的续存，凡人死后的调整者。Okay, Heidi.
Okay. So, like you said, we're reading paper 112 now, which is personality survival. And hold on one second. Today we're starting section 4, adjusters after death. And here we go. When death of a material, intellectual, or spiritual nature occurs, the adjuster bids farewell to the mortal host and departs for Divinington. From the headquarters of the local universe and the super universe, a reflective contact is made with the supervisors of both governments, and the monitor is registered out by the same number that recorded entry into the domains of time. In some way not fully understood, the universal censors are able to gain possession of an epitome of the human life as it is embodied in the adjuster's duplicate transcription of the spiritual values and Urantia meanings of the indwelt mind. The censors are able to appropriate the adjuster's version of the deceased human's survival character and spiritual qualities, and all this data, together with the seraphic records, is available for presentation at the time of the adjudication of the individual concerned. This information is also used to confirm those super-universe mandates which make it possible for certain ascenders immediately to begin their Urantia careers upon mortal dissolution to proceed to the mansion worlds ahead of the formal termination of a planetary dispensation. Who's going to read?
Anne.
Okay.
Anne, are you?
Yeah.
Convenient to read the Chinese translation? 你方便读中文吗？
可以的，没有问题。
好的。
OK， 是凡人死后的调整者。当物质自性或属灵性质的死亡发生时，调整者向凡人属主告别，并前往神之圣都。他从地方宇宙和超级宇宙总部与这两个政府的管理者们进行反射性联系，并且告诫者将被以进入时间领域时的同一记录编号注销。万有监察者能够以某种我们尚未完全了解的方式获得一个人生摘要，这个摘要包含在调整者对内住心智的灵性价值和灵质性意义的不止转录中。监察者能够利用调整者记录逝者的尚存意象和灵性品质的版本，而所有这些数据已是天使的记录一起，都可在对当事人进行判决时出示。这些信息还被用于确认超级宇宙命令，使得某些扬升者可以在肉身消亡后立即开始 灵智性生涯，提前去往宅下世界，而不必等待行星天命时代正式结束。继续吗
No, I don't think so.
？OK，
Right there. I'll be right there. Okay, I'm here.
The 2 paragraphs, right?
Yes, yes. So let me just look at when death materialism. Okay, so we read last week, we read about the 3 different types of death: material, intellectual, or spiritual. So there, when either one of those occurs, the adjuster, in other words, even if you're still alive, if you have spiritual death, which is you reject the will of God for some reason, or you're intellectual, you can no longer intellectually make a choice, then you're considered dead in either case. And when you're considered dead, whether your body's still alive or not, when you're considered dead, your thought adjuster leaves and goes back to Divinington.
上回我们已经读到有3种的死亡，像物质身体的死亡、智性的心智的死亡、属灵性质的死亡。就在这3种发生，任何一个发生的时候，调整者都会离开，然后去往神之圣都。就是灵性的死亡，即使你还肉体还活着，也有可能像调整者已经离开了。如果你的心智没有办法做决定，那么这个像调整没有办法跟你进行沟通，那么他也会离开，所以就不见得是肉身的死亡。那么在这2种性质的死亡发生的时候，像调整也会离开。
And then it says that from the headquarters of the local universe, and a reflective contact is made with the supervisor. So then it says that basically the thought adjuster makes contact, and they use the word reflective again. That's, as I said, that's how that I believe they're actual reflective spirits that they use to communicate at huge distances between worlds and between super universe headquarters and individual planets and things, like huge distances. They have a way of using these reflective spirits to be able to sort of communicate. And so they're basically saying that the thought adjuster uses this makes a reflective contact with the supervisors of both governments. And they're saying with the local universe, that would be the supervisor of the local universe would be on Salvington, and the super universe supervisors would be the Ancients of Days on Uversa. So they're making contact with both governments, or both supervisors on the local universe headquarters and the super universe headquarters. And then the monitor is registered out by the same number that recorded entry into the. So when the mystery monitor, the thought adjuster, came from Divinington to our super universe, they registered at our super universe headquarters. So they have a number, and they registered when they came in, and now they're registering again with the same number to go out.
嗯， 所以这个就是说，当我们发生的时候，我们的心智没有办法做决定，那么它也会离开。所以就不见得是肉身的死亡，那么在这两种性质的死亡发生的时候，调整者已经离开了。如果你的心智没有办法做决定，那么在这两种性质的死亡发生的时候，调整者也会离开。 这个地方又提到反射性的接触，反射性之灵，就是往往用来在宇宙当中进行远距离的传送信息。它这个当这个神之不就是思想调整者被释放了之后，那么他要利用这个反射性回路呢。跟那个地方宇宙和超级宇宙总部取得联系。那么 local 宇宙它就是地方宇宙，它这个总部在萨尔文顿，那么超级宇宙在尤尔萨，还有跟这些的各级的宇宙政府的总部取得联系，然后呢。当这个思想调整者进入时间领域与凡人那个内住的时候，他是在地方宇宙总部是有一个编号注册的程序，那么有一个每个思想调整都有编号，那么在他离开的时候，他也要到这个总部去履行一个手续，就是一个编号注销的这个程序。
Now, I think that last week or the week before we read that the adjuster goes to Divinington by way of Uversa. So we could check. It doesn't really matter. I think I read that the adjuster sort of stops at Uversa on the way to Divinington. But this sounds like he doesn't actually go there. He uses a reflective contact to do what he has to do there. So that's just a technicality. So but I just want to mention it in case anyone else notices too, that it's sort of two different things. He either goes there or he uses a reflective contact to do his business there. I'm not sure which one. It's saying two different things, I think.
这个地方呢，就是他跟凡人宿主告别之后，直接的去往神之圣都。而当他来的时候，好像我记得我们曾经读过，他是要好像经过这个超级宇宙总部站去那个地方进行登记。那么这个地方说他回去的时候，好像似乎并不是还要经过这个超级宇宙总部，而只是用这个反射性之灵进行联系，然后来注销编号。
Maybe I just imagined it said that.
Yeah, I have that same impression as well.
Yeah, that we read that.
It's
So
like he has to register there, and then he has to go there and register. So he has kind of a little bit delay on arriving the planet wherever he is assigned to.
yeah, he stops at Uversa on the way to
Yeah.
Divinington. But here it acts like he doesn't actually go there. He just used the reflective contact. So we don't, maybe they meant, maybe before when they said he stops at Uversa, they meant in a reflective way he stops at Uversa. It doesn't really matter because it doesn't matter. I mean, it's not a big deal whether he goes there or not. So it doesn't affect, either way he has to make contact with Uversa because he is now carrying, he's in possession. We're dead. We the human subject is dead. The thought adjuster is in possession of the spiritual and intellectual transcript of our life. So he's in possession of that. So that's what they're talking about. Somehow he is able to, and it says here, in some way not fully understood, the universal senses are able to gain possession of an epitome of the human life as it is embodied in the adjuster's duplicate transcription of the spiritual values, Urantia meanings of the senses are able to appropriate the adjuster's version of the deceased human character, and all this data together with the seraphic records is available for presentation at the time of the adjudication of the individual concerned. This information is also used to confirm those super universe which make it possible for, so everything that we are, because the seraphic records are separate, and the soul, the guardian angel takes possession of the soul and the seraphic records, and the thought adjuster has this transcript of our memories and our well, what do they call it? The transcription of the spiritual values and Urantia meanings of our mind. So they bring they end up on Uversa, but everything that we were, everything that we are, the angel and the thought adjuster each are in possession of a different part of us, and they go and they end up there, and then there's an adjudication, and it's decided whether we can go to, if we're lucky, we can go to the Urantia world directly and arrive there 3 days after we die. So that has to be decided by the universal censors. They have to confirm that the thought adjuster and the guardian angel will recommend that, but it has to be confirmed by the censors after we die, by looking at those transcripts of our life. They have to stamp it. They have to say, okay, yep, send this one to Urantia, or no, this one becomes a sleeping survivor, or this one, this one's not going to go anywhere.
对，这个万有监察者呢，他也要这个，看这第二段就是他要考察2部分哈，那个思想调整者他带着我们这个就是那记录哈，是这个记录呢，就是这思想调整者带着的是我们的这个就关于我们的灵性价值啊。灵智性意义的这些复制转录，就是我们人生的记录，这些复制转录当中要考察这个灵性价值、灵智性意义。然后呢，这个天使所携带的是什么？天使的记录，天使是携带我们的灵魂的。Seraphic records. Seraphim is going to bring our soul, and what else? Records.
It says together with the seraphic records. So, the seraphim are they record everything. Your whole life is actually recorded. The thought adjuster sort of has a transcription of your entire life, but so do the angels. They record everything. So that record, they call it in different spiritual disciplines, they call them, you've heard of the Akashic records, right? I think that's what they're talking about. I think they're like Akashic records. But the Urantia Book calls them seraphic records. The seraphim are the ones who keep all those records. Everything everyone does is recorded by the seraphim are the recording angels.
对，那个天使呢，他带的记录呢，他说有点类似于那个阿卡西记录，相当于生活的全貌，全部的都录起来了，都是，对。但是思想调整者携带那部分主要是像一个摘要一样，主要记录这个心智当中的灵性价值、有灵智性意义的这一部分。然后监察者呢，那个就可以综合这些信息呢，利用这个来评价这个续存意向啊，然后那个在判决，因为在对当事人进行续存判决的时候，这些记录都要考量的。
So Now, in the next paragraph, it talks about translation, and just to remind everyone or tell everyone, when you there's a way, another way of dying, and that's when you translate directly from Earth or your home planet to the Urantia world without the 3-day interval of going to sleep for 3 days and then waking up on Urantia. You go there directly. But that's we've talked about that before. That's what I believe that's what happens when we hear about spontaneous human combustion. I believe that's what spontaneous human combustion is. The Urantia book does not say it's spontaneous human combustion, but it says you burst into a sort of flames, like huge flames, and then you're just gone. And that when a planet is very evolved, in the era of light and life, a lot of people, more and more people die that way. They're just ready to be translated into the next world without having to spend 3 days in transit. They just go directly. You just translate and then you're on the Urantia world. Your body bursts into flames, a kind of flames, and then it's not there anymore.
可以说还有一种转移的方式哈，不用就是分离3天，然后在灵智性世界重新组合，就可以从这个物质界直接就转移到灵智界，就没有这3天的间隔，是马上发生的。他说，就比如说那个，那些的，发生这种情况，往往就是就比如说那个你报道的那些身体自燃，他们就可以那些高僧啊什么的，他们就是走的时候好像红光身现象，就像那种出现那种现象的时候，有可能就这个灵魂它就是直接从肉体世界转移到灵智型世界。他说现在这种比较少见，当这个地球进化到这个光与生命的星球的时候，就更多人灵性就是特别高的，那个阶段，大概这种情况会更多出现。
So we know that we have such a thing on Earth, on this planet, that we call spontaneous human combustion. We don't know if that's the same thing that the Urantia book is talking about, but it sounds to me like it is, because they say that some human beings on Earth do that already, and not many. They say that Enoch, who was a very, very famous Jewish prophet, very early, and there's a book called the Book of Enoch, and it's like it's not in the Bible. It may have been part of the Bible a long time ago. It's no longer part of the Bible, but it still exists. It's a separate book called the Book of Enoch, and he was an old Jewish prophet. And the Urantia book says that Enoch translated. When he died, he burst into flames, and then he went directly to the Urantia world.
对，他只是猜测啊，就是人体自然现象的那种红光身现象，是跟直接的转移有关系的啊。当然，《预言下之书》上面也没有这么说。那还有一个人，这个圣经上的人物就是以诺。以诺呢是是犹太的一个先知，他有一本书叫《以诺之书》，应该是在很久以前，应该是应该是圣经的一部分，但是不是现在的版本的圣经的一部分。他就是在一个烈火当中，就是直接转移了，直接就是那个飞升了。
In the Book of Enoch, I haven't read this part. I've read, a few parts of it, but they say that they call it chariots of fire. So they do record in the book of Enoch that's how he died, that he burst into flames and then he was gone, and they call it chariots of fire.
对，就是他乘着那个烈火马车，就飞升了，在火焰当中飞升了。
I think, Ricky, I think you've said that there are Buddhist monks who die that way.
When they die, they can shrink into their body size. Or they kind of, some even only their hair and the nails left. So the different type of human combustion seems like they can burn their body up, but not necessarily visible flame.
Not necessarily with what?
Visible flame.
Oh, not necessarily with flames?
Yeah, they just shrink. Their body becomes as small as a baby.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah, it is another kind of, combustion. So they kind of consume their body with one kind of energy.
But are they then dead?
Yeah,
Do people witness it? Do people see it happen?
yeah.
Oh, that's strange. Okay, so I'll read the next couple paragraphs. Okay. Subsequent, if the mortal associate, that's us, belongs to a group that will be repersonalized at.
Oh, you
Wait.
already read, have you read 3 yet?
No, I didn't read that, but no, I skipped a paragraph, so I should
I
start,
see.
yeah.
Okay.
Subsequent to physical death, after we die, except in individuals translated, that's what we're talking about, translation. Except in individuals translated from among the living, the released adjuster goes immediately to the home sphere of Divinington. The details of what transpires on that world during the time of awaiting the factual reappearance of the surviving mortal depend chiefly on whether the human being ascends to the mansion worlds in his own individual right or awaits a dispensation summoning of the sleeping survivors of a planetary age. Okay.
Yeah.
好的，在身体死后，除了从活人中直接转化的个体中的调整者之外，得到释放的调整者将立即前往神圣之都的星球家园，在等待续存凡人真正重新出现期间，在那个世界上发生的细节，主要取决于人类是以自己的个人权利扬升到宅下世界，还是等待行星时代结束对休眠幸存者的天命召唤。
Okay. So that's what we were just talking about, the translation. So there's basically three ways. You can either translate and go directly to the Urantia world. You can go in, wake up there 3 days later, or you can become a sleeping survivor. And then you have to wait for the next dispensation, which when all the sleeping survivors go together to the Urantia world. And then if that happens, you might sleep for 1 day and then there's a dispensation, or 1,000 years, but it'll feel the same to you either way.
就是前面已经说了，我们有3种的转化的方式，一个是直接的转化，从那个，不用经过3天的耽搁。第2种就是你肉身死了，然后3天之后你在灵智性世界复活。第3种呢，就是等待天命时代的召唤，那个当这个行星时代结束的时候，那个跟另外的就是一批人，就是休眠的续存者，然后一起的受到召唤，然后在灵智性世界复活，这3种方式。Heidi, are you there?
I'm sorry, I had mute on. I'm so sorry, I was talking, but I had mute on, so it didn't really do much good.
That's okay. Yeah.
God heard me. God heard me.
Yeah, I guess you might have muted.
I was talking to my thought adjuster. So except when you are translated. Okay, when you are translated, you go right to the Urantia world. So your thought adjuster doesn't go to Divinington because he goes with you right to the Urantia world. But as we said, that's very, very rare at this time on Earth. Later, when a planet is very evolved, people translate all the time. And then there comes a time when almost everyone translates. That's how they die. And there's a great well, we'll read about it, but there's a great celebration. It's a one, people are very happy when someone translates. So it's very different than right now. We think dying is the worst thing that can happen. But later, when the planet's very evolved, they think it's the best thing that can happen.
Yeah. OK. 当你就是那种第一种死的方式，一种直接的转化的时候，你就是从这个物质界直接转移到灵智界。那么你的思想调整者是直接跟着你一起去的，不用再去他的神智圣度，然后再回来的。所以就是那是在非常非常进化程度非常高的那个体凡人个体才会发生的，就是但是现在比较罕见，但是以后当我们的星球进化到光与生命的时代的时候，越来越多的人会以这种方式离开物质星球。那么那个时候呢，死就成为一个非常的就是要庆祝的事件，而不像现在我们把死亡当成一个最坏的事件。
So then they're saying that what happens, they're saying that what happens on Divinington with the thought adjuster, what he experiences on Divinington depends on whether you're going to go to the Urantia world in 3 days or whether you're going to become a sleeping survivor. Because he's either there for a very short visit or he may be there for a long while he's waiting for you for the next dispensation. So so something different, depending on which you're going to be, that will decide what he does on Divinington.
对，那么这个你是在就是思想调整者哈，回到神之圣都，你是就是取决于人类是以自己的个人权利扬升到其他世界的，还是等待行星时代结束对休眠续存者的天命召唤，那么来 实际上决定这个像调整者在神之圣都他干什么。
They don't say Divinington, they say the details of what transpires on that world during the time of awaiting. But they must mean Divinington because, you know, they must mean Divinington.
OK，
Right. Yeah, because I mean, what other world could they be talking about?
where the transpire? Where is that?
So this little paragraph I just read, the second sentence,
the details of what.
yeah, the details of what transpires on that world during the time of awaiting. They depend on whether we go right to the mansion world or what. So that's why I interpreted it to mean what he does, what transpires on that world. What I think that's their way of saying what the adjuster does on that world, on Divinington. It depends on whether you're going to be there for a short visit or a long visit.
Yeah, I already translated.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So now, and then, so right, whether the human being assents to the mantra his own individual right or awaits a dispensational summoning of the sleeping survivors. Okay, next paragraph. If the mortal associate belongs to a group that will be repersonalized at the end of a dispensation, the adjuster will not immediately return to the mansion world of the former system of service, but will, according to choice, enter upon one of the following temporary assignments. So here's where they tell us what the different choices the adjuster has. Okay. Number 1, be mustered into the ranks of vanished monitors for undisclosed service. Number 2, be assigned for a period to the observation of the paradise regime. Number 3, be enrolled in one of the many training schools of Divinington. Number 4, be stationed for a time as a student observer on one of the other 6 sacred spheres, which constitute the Father's circuit of paradise worlds. Number 5, be assigned to the messenger service of the personalized adjusters. Number 6, become an associate instructor in the Divinington schools devoted to the training of monitors belonging to the Virgin group. Number 7, be assigned to select a group of possible worlds on which to serve in the event that there is reasonable cause for believing that the human partner may have rejected survival. You can read that, Anne.
OK，在哪里
4.4，
1.4 OK， 如果对吗？如果凡人伙伴属于一个会在天命时代结束时被再人格化的群体，调整者将不会立即返回以前服务系统的在上世界，而是会根据选择进入以下临时任务之一： 1. 加入未透露任务的消失的告诫者队伍中； 2. 被指派对天堂政权观察一段时间； 3. 就读于神圣之都众多培训学校之一； 4. 被派到构成天堂世界天赋回路的另外6个神圣星球之一，做一段时间的学生观察员。
神是6个这个星球应该是不对的，应该是介于，它不是还有其他6个超级宇宙嘛？这个星球有点太小了，介于。
OK，
嗯，
好，接下来第5，被分配到人格化调整者的信使服务中。第6， 成为神圣之都学校的副教员，专门培训属于出生团体的告诫者。第七，被分派去选择一组可能的世界，在有合理理由相信人类伙伴可能已经拒绝续存的事件中提供服务。完了是吗？
Yeah，
到这里啊
对，
？OK，
读到这儿。
嗯。
Heidi, are you there? 他没在，我们再读一段。
如果当死亡降临时，你已经达到第三圈或更高层次，因此被分派了一个人命运守护者，并且如果由调整者提交的续存意向总结的最终记录得到命运守护者无条件的认证，如果是天使和调整者对他们的生命记录和建议的每一项都达成根本性一致，如果由霍萨的万有监察者及其反射性伙伴确认这些数据，并且毫不含糊或保留，那么但谷常在者会通过通讯线路向萨尔文顿发出免修的命令，你因此得到释放。内巴顿的主权审理委员将宣布立即将续存的灵魂传送到宰杀世界的复活大厅。继续吗 ，Ricky？ 要继续吗？
我要问 Heidi 在不在？Heidi,
OK
are you back? 他要没有回来，我们就继续读完吧。这个节剩最后一段了。
好，我得到的只是说，如果人类个体能够毫无耽搁地续存，调整者就在神圣之都登记，前往万有之父的天堂。他立即回转，并受到分配到超级宇宙和地方宇宙的人格化调整者拥抱，得到神之圣都首席人格化告诫者的赞赏。然后立即进入身份转变的实现，从那里被召唤出来，进入第三阶段，并在宰杀世界进入真正人格形体。这种形体由命运守护者投射，已做好了接收来自地球凡人的细存灵魂的准备。
Wow, that's fantastic. Heidi, are you back?
Okay, hold on.
No hurry, no worry.
Okay, I'm back. My little dog wanted to. What made me take him out? Okay, so that section talks about the 7 different choices the adjuster has when we die and he goes back to Divinington. He has there's many different things he can do, but if we're going to if we have, they call it advanced standing, and if we're going to be able to go right to the Urantia world in 3 days, which I hope we all can, that would be great. But then he just has to then he can't do any of those things. He has to just basically, if we're going to go in 3 days, it says he's going to hold on. Okay, if the assessor belongs to the group, the gesture will not immediately return to the world. Okay. be assigned, you have attained the, oh no, that be assigned to select group. Where does it say where does it say, about if you're good, if the mortal associates belongs to a group that will be repersonalized, the adjuster will not immediately return. Okay. Subsequent, we read that. Be station, be assigned, become select group, be associate instructor, be assigned, be mustered.
它就是这个地方哈，那个就是，如果那个这个凡人呢，他是不是那种3天以后会复活的，而是要等到天命时代，才那个被转移到宰下世界的。那么这个思想调整者哈，他就会被被分配到以下7种的临时任务当中。
No, I was confused because I had when Anne was reading, I was reading ahead. So I was confused. I'm like, where does it say what it was? Because I was reading ahead. Okay. So it's just saying that assuming that you're going to become a sleeping survivor, then the adjuster has some time, and there's 7 different choices he has of what he can do while he's on Divinington, waiting for the next dispensation. Now, which one he chooses may depend on whether he may know there's going to be a dispensation very soon, because they happen every like 500 years or 1,000 years. I forget how often, but they happen every at the end of an era. There's a dispensation, and all the sleeping survivors at once go to Urantia world. So there may not be that long to wait. So that may decide, he may choose one of these 7 choice options depending on when the next dispensation is. If it's going to be 1,000 years that you're sleeping, then he may decide to, go back to training or something like that. Then one of the choices is be assigned to select a group of possible worlds on which to serve in the event that there is reasonable cause for believing that the human partner. So if you have rejected survival, but he's not sure, he thinks you have, but he's not positive, because the ancients of days and the censors are going to make that final decision. So he's not positive, but he's pretty sure you're going to reject survival, or maybe you're going to be given a choice and he thinks you'll probably reject. Then he'll probably start be assigned to select a group of possible. He'll probably select a group of possible worlds to have his next life with a mortal, for his next, he's going to go to another mortal and start all over again. So he's going to, in this case, he'll pick some possible world on which to serve in his next life with his next mortal, if he thinks that.
Oh, you jump to the 7th, right? Be assigned to a select group of possible worlds.
Yeah, that to serve in the event that there is a reasonable cause for believing that the human partner may have rejected survival. So he's not sure, but he thinks you probably have rejected survival.
I see. Okay.
So he wants to be ready. He already knows which world, at least narrow it down to a few worlds that he might.
对，那么你这个休眠的续存者，他是休眠的，根据这天命时代长短哈，他可能休眠500年，休眠1000年呢。在这期间呢，就是思想调整者会被派去执行一些临时的任务。第7种呢，就是这个会被分派去一组可能的世界，就是有可能这个人类伙伴 这个睡眠的 survivor 有可能最终还是拒绝续存的这样的发生的时候，那么这个思想调整者还要继续去服务其他的凡人，那么他这个时候在这个等待期间呢，他会被分配去选择一组他可能去服务别的凡人的这个世界。
So we should remember that our thought adjuster is part of us. They want us to survive because they want to merge with us for all eternity. They want to reunite with us either in 3 days or after. Well, in this case, we're talking about if you're a sleeping survivor. That's this. So when the dispensation comes and you're resurrected and you go on to the mansion worlds with thousands and thousands of other people, the thought adjuster, it's in their interest to help you to survive, to merge with you, to become one with you. Ricky, I'm saying that because maybe what they choose to do in the meantime will be in terms of you, like which would be better for you, for like, that's their goal, is to you. So would it be better for you if he decided to observe the paradise regime? Well, maybe if you're going to live a very spiritual life, that would be good. But maybe if you're a scientist or something, that kind of person, it would be better for him to go and do some more training. So he may make a choice depending on who you are. It's possible. That's what I'm thinking.
就是说他在这个神之圣都选择要接受什么样的经验啊，什么样的培训呢？也有可能是根据你的特长，你对他要再到下一个世界更好的服务你，那么他也要加强自己的那一部分的训练，然后再回来的时候才能更好的帮助你。实际上也是这个是一个对他也要加强他的指导的能力一样的这些训练。
Now, it may just be like vacation time, like he's had to work so hard with you your whole life. Now it's his time to do whatever he likes. It's completely his time, so it may have nothing to do with you, but most likely because it's in his interest to serve you as well as he can, he might pick the thing that will be best for both of you.
对，也有可能呢是他的休假时间，那么他可以选择他喜欢做的任何的活动。当然，他的最高的兴趣就是他能够最好的帮助你，尽他所能来帮助你。所以呢，这两者也不矛盾。
So anyway, it's nice to know that, the adjuster, is sort of trapped in your life, your whole life. He's trapped there with you. And it's nice to know that if you become a sleeping survivor, he has some time to make a choice and do what he wants to do for a while.
对，因为他在我们这凡人还活着的时候，相当于被囚禁在我们里边，那么这个时候呢，你去沉睡了，他正好有时间可以做一些自己选择的活动，也是很好的。
The other thing that's significant about this is that when you're sleeping, so nothing's happening to you as a sleeping survivor, whether it's 10 years or 1,000 years, you are not evolving, you're not growing, you're like in a coma. You have absolutely no memory of that time. It's like you don't exist. But it's nice to know that when you are reunited with your thought adjuster on the Urantia world, when you wake up and your thought adjuster is with you again, they've had additional experience. So they have even more to offer you than they had when you died.
对，在这个沉睡期间呢，你呢是没有记忆的，你就相当于就跟不存在一样。但是呢，在你沉睡期间，这个思想调整者他有在那儿增加那个更多的经验，他在长进。
So it's no matter what he does, it's if you're a sleeping survivor, no matter what your thought adjuster does, it's a benefit to you that he's had time. You haven't been growing, but your thought adjuster has been having valuable experience. That's what I'm saying.
就是说你在那儿沉睡，但是呢，这个思想调整者在你沉睡期间做的一切的活动都是对你有益的。
Okay, I'm going to read the next section. If, when death overtakes you, you have attained the third circle or a higher realm, and therefore have had assigned to you a personal guardian of destiny, and if the final transcript of the summary of survival character submitted by the adjuster is unconditionally certified by the destiny guardian, if both seraphim and adjuster essentially agree in every item of their life records and recommendations, if the universal censors and their reflective associates on Uversa confirm this data and do so without equivocation or reservation, in that event, the Ancients of Days flash forth the mandate of advanced standing over the communication circuits to Salvington, and thus released the tribunals of the sovereign of Nebadon, will decree the immediate passage of the surviving soul to the resurrection halls of the mansion worlds. Okay.
Oh, we already read this part, the translation.
No, this is a different part.
Yeah, we already read that. We already read through the whole section while you are gone.
Oh, while I was gone. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I was gonna say I didn't need. All right. And then you read the next one too. If the human individual. Okay, so let me read it. If the human individual survives without delay, the adjuster, so I am instructed. Okay, if the human individual survives without delay, the adjuster, so I am instructed, registers at Divinington, proceeds to the paradise presence of the Universal Father, returns immediately and is embraced by the personalized adjusters of the super universe and local universe of assignment, receives the recognition of the chief personalized monitor of Divinington, and then at once passes into the realization of identity transition, being summoned therefrom on the third period and on the mansion world in the actual personality form, made ready for the reception of the surviving soul of the earth mortal, as that form has been projected by the guardian of destiny. Okay. So they're talking about if you have attained your third circle or second circle or first circle, you're going to go to the Urantia world in 3 days.
他就说这个第12段哈，这个说这个如果我们在这个死的时候已经达到了第3圈，就是心灵圆圈的第3圈要更高层次啊，被分配了一个个人命运守护者。这样的话，这个就转移到灵智性世界，大概就需要3天而已。
But only if if your own that okay, I said you're going to go in 3 days, but only if your thought adjuster and your destiny guardian agree in every item of their life records and recommendations. And if the universal censors in their reflective and their reflective associates on Uversa confirm this data and do so without equivocation or reservation, in that event, the ancient, so everyone has to agree. The thought adjuster, the angel, the universal censors, and their associates, everyone has to agree without any hesitation or any doubt. Yes, this person is ready for the Urantia world. So if you've reached your third circle and when you reach your third circle, you get assigned automatically your own personal guardian of destiny. Now that can happen. That's not the only way you could get assigned, but that's if you reach your circle, you will automatically get assigned your own personal guardian of destiny if you don't have your own personal guardian angel already. If that happens and you die, then your thought adjuster, your angel, the universal censors, they all have to agree on all the details of your life. Yes, this person's ready. Then if that happens, the Ancients of Days, they will approve it and send out the message. Yes, this person's going. And then this other stuff happens.
对，那个达到第3个圆圈呢，就是被合格分配一个个人命运守护者嘛，并且呢，这个思想调整者和这个护卫天使还要就是一致哈，就是相当于就是认为你就是已经准备好可以那个就是有资格去到宅下世界。那么因为他们对你的生命记录建议每一项都达成根本性一致，这个时候这个 Uversa 的万有监察者及反射性伙伴呢就会释放这个，就会发出这个，你可以直接被释放，这个灵魂就可以被传送到宅下世界。
So that's kind of if that happens, the Ancients of Days flash forth the mandate of advanced so they call it advanced standing because it is advanced standing. Not all people survive. Most people in the world and when a world is in this period, later when it's in light and life, most people do survive. But at this time in a planet, especially on a rebel planet where there's so much chaos and so much evil, most people don't survive. Jesus said that. He said that many will knock and few will enter. So we know that most people don't survive. So if you become a sleeping survivor, that's great. That's great. That's something to be very, very happy about. Now, if you've reached your third circle and you have your own personal guardian angel, and you're going to go in 3 days, that's advanced standing. Then you're in a very special group, and your thought adjuster gets to, they get to congratulate him. They get to, did a good job. Everyone's happy. And there's a certain little ritual that happens. It's like there's a little celebration. Your thought adjuster gets to sort of like get a little extra pat on the back.
It's very funny. 就是你如果能达到第3个圆圈呢，能够经过这个有自己的护卫天使啊，然后到时候被被这个万有监察者，然后是说这个直接允许被转移到宅下世界，这都是一个非常大的成就，是你就是达到一个很高的一个进化的地位。那在我们这样一个比较混乱的星球，就是邪恶当道的这样一个混乱的星球， 其实很少人能够达到这样比较高的一个进化层次。耶稣曾经说过嘛，很多人敲门，但是很少人被允许进去，其实就是这个意思。
And there's
能够
yeah,
达到这个，休眠的续存者就也不错了，也不错了。当然就是那个不算是高级的地位，但是就是前面他就强调达到第3个圆圈的这些凡人，个人护卫天使的，直接转移到其他世界的，那么这个属于一个特别的组群，那么他们的思想调整者呢会被特别的祝贺。也许呢会给他们有一个小小的仪式，然后被拍拍后背说啊你干得不错，这是艾迪开玩笑的一个说法。
and also, you know, we see this again and again. There's a lot of paperwork in the universe. There's a lot of bureaucracy. It's nothing just happens like, hey, I want to go here and you take off. There's a lot of registering and approvals and you know, and I mean, I think that in one way that seems kind of strange. It's like, why are the universes so filled with paperwork and bureaucracy? You know, you have to, you wonder, like, can't things just sort of, aren't they kind of automatic up there? But no. But then when you think of how enormous the universes are, how huge, how millions and millions and millions and millions of people, they probably have the process pretty streamlined considering how many people they're dealing with. So they have to have things kind of, there has to be a little, I've worked in government. You know, I worked at 7 government agencies. I know about, and you know, America is a pretty big, we have a huge government. So I know that the bigger something is, the more bureaucracy there is, and the slower it is. Well, they do things pretty fast considering, but what they're saying is that now you've been approved by the Ancients of Days, your thought adjuster, your guardian angel, the censors, everyone agrees this person should go right to the Mirage world. Now, but it's not, it doesn't even stop there. Now the Ancients of Days send the mandate of advanced standing over the communication circuits to Salvington. That's the headquarters of our local universe, and thus release the tribunals of the sovereign of Nebadon. The sovereign of Nebadon is Jesus Christ. Will decree the immediate passage of the surviving soul. So now they're saying, okay, we approve up here on Uversa in the super universe. We approve this person, but now it goes back to your local universe. Now you register with your local universe. They say, okay, this is, you know, they don't approve it. It's already been approved by the Ancients of Days, but it goes back to your local universe, and then they will decree the immediate passage of the surviving soul. Then they approve it. They say, okay, Ancients of Days approved it, we approve it. But so it goes back into, so it's also in their records. So now it's in the records of Uversa. Now you're registered in the records of Uversa, and you're registered in the records of Salvington, that you've gone to the Mirancha, that you've achieved advanced standing and you've gone to the Mirancha worlds. So that you're very recorded. There's a lot of records of you. If you don't make it, then there's no records of you. There are, because you still get adjudicated, but forget I said that. But anyway, there's a certain amount of paperwork that has to be done.
他说这个宇宙之大呀，它就是越大的政府，我们都知道它这个就有很多的文件呢，来来去去的登记啊，准许啊，就是我们往往就说啊，这些难道不能自动发生吗？但是呢，就是它就是 这个程序它有一个比较严格的一个流水线的程序，那个在那个超级宇宙的级别，就是要亘古常在者呢，先要通过通讯线路向萨尔文顿发出免修的命令。萨尔文顿就是超级宇宙的总督嘛，首府嘛。然后在这个内巴顿的主权审理委员会，那是地方宇宙嘛。地方宇宙这样得到这个免修的命令之后，然后就宣布立即释放这个传送续存灵魂到宅下世界，相当于超级宇宙级别，然后命令local 宇宙、地方宇宙级别，然后地方宇宙来释放，把这个灵魂释放到宅下世界的复活大厅。
And so then the last paragraph is what happens to the adjuster. If you survive without delay, you're going to go right to the Urantia worlds. Takes 3 days, but basically you're going, no, you're not going to be a sleeping survivor. Then the adjuster registers at Divinington. He goes to Divinington, his home planet, and he goes right to paradise, to the Universal Father. And then he goes immediately to be embraced by the personalized adjusters of the super universe and the local universe. So that's where I say he gets the pat on the back. So he gets kind of congratulated, and he gets to, when you get embraced by these higher beings, usually I don't know what it does to an adjuster because they're perfect to begin with, but when we get embraced by a Trinity origin being, it changes us. It's an incredible thing. So it's definitely a good thing, even for an adjuster, to be embraced by the personalized adjusters of the super universe and local universe of assignment, receives a recognition of the chief personalized monitor of Divinington. So that's he goes to the presence of God. He receives the recognition of the chief personalized monitor of Divinington. That's a very high important thought adjuster on Divinington, maybe the most important one. And then he goes into, and then he comes, and after that, all those special things he does in those 3 days, he comes and he merges, and then he comes to the Urantia world, and he comes back into our being and becomes part of us again.
那就是像现在就是重复解释第13段哈，第4部分第13段的。那么调整者在神之圣都登基啊，先前往万有之父的天堂，然后再回转到超级宇宙、地方宇宙人格化调整者那里，就是受到这个赞赏，首席人格化高阶者的赞赏，然后立即进入身份转变的实现。
So, we this is the first time we've ever finished a paper in one session. It was a short one though.
Yeah. 然后就是他在那里嘛，你看宅下世界，这个人格形体呢，是由命运守护者投射，那就是由天使那个他们投射。然后这个思想调整者他不是带着我们的灵魂嘛，然后他这形体准备好了，然后呢，思想调整者就带着我们的灵魂，相当于。
Well, Shenli's with us now. Hello, Shenli.
Hello, Heidi. Hello, everyone. I just arrived, just joined the meeting.
Well, maybe we should, we just finished one short paper. You can always hear it on the recording.
Yeah, I will.
But since you're here, let's start. Ricky, what do you say we start section 5?
Yes, we start section 5.
Okay, section 5, survival of the human self.
那沈丽读吧哈，下一篇翻译的沈丽读吧。OK，
就中文是吧？好，OK。
Selfhood is a cosmic reality, whether material, morantial, or spiritual. The actuality of the personal is the bestowal of the universal Father acting in and of himself or through his manifold universe agencies. To say that a being is personal is to recognize the relative individuation of such a being within the cosmic organism. The living cosmos is an all but infinitely integrated aggregation of real units, all of which are relatively subject to the destiny of the whole. But those that are personal have been endowed with actual choice of destiny acceptance or of destiny rejection. Okay.
OK，人类自我的续存，自我性是一种宇宙实相，无论是物质的、灵质性的还是灵性的。个人性的事实是万有之父通过他自己或他的多重宇宙代理所赠予的。说一个存有是个人性的，就是承认这个存有在宇宙有机体内的相对个体化。有生命的宇宙是一个由各种真实单元无限结合的聚合体，其中的每个单元都相对服从于整体命运。但那些拥有个人性的存有已经被赋予了接受命运或拒绝命运的实际选择。OK，
So basically they're saying that when God gives you the gift of personality, that means that of all the living beings in the cosmos, spiritual, morantial, or material, morantial, or spiritual, of all of the entities that are selves, that are individual selves, like an animal or maybe a plant, I don't know. It says if when you have personality, which is a bestowal of the universal Father, or his manifold universe agencies, you have the actual choice of destiny acceptance or of destiny rejection. That's what makes you a personal being. You can accept to choose to survive, or you can opt out. You can say, no, take me off the list, delete me. I don't want to be here anymore. That's one of the main difference between us and, let's say, our cat Sunny or an animal. We have the choice always, every single day, to continue or to just say, I don't like this reality. I don't want to be any part of it.
人格一旦就是这存有赋予了这个自我性哈，有这个人格，那么他就相当于赋予了自由意志，他可以选择存活，还是选择不在这个实相当中去体验。他就说把我删掉吧，我不想在这儿继续了，他有这个自由。
So, in other words, God gives us life But he doesn't force it on us. He says, here's life. Here you are. I gave you I gave you life. I created you. You exist. You're here. But it's up to you if you want to be part of this or not. I'm not going to force you to be part of my universe. I'm not going to force you to survive and be part of this family. You can leave anytime you like. He wants us here because we want to be here.
他就是天赋就是那个创造这生命，但是他并不是逼迫我们的，他或者是逼迫你成为这个宇宙的一部分。
Okay, so then I'll read the next because the next paragraph is more about the same thing. That which comes from the Father is like the Father eternal. And this is just as true of personality, which God gives by his own free will choice, as it is of the divine thought adjuster, an actual fragment of God. Man's personality is eternal, but with regard to identity, a conditioned eternal reality. Having appeared in response to the Father's will, personality will attain deity destiny, but man must choose whether or not he will be present at the attainment of such destiny. In default of such choice, personality attains experiential deity directly, becoming a part of the Supreme Being. The cycle is foreordained, but man's participation therein is optional, personal, and experiential. Okay.
来自天父的，如天父般永恒，这对于人格来说也同样适用。这是神通过他自己的自由意志选择赋予的，因为他属于神性思想调整者，真正的神之片段。人的人格是永恒的，但就个体身份而言，是一种有条件的永恒实相。在回应天父的旨意中，人格将实现神灵命运，但人必须选择是否参与实现这样的命运。如果没有这样的选择，人格将直接达到经验性神灵，成为至高存在者的一部分。循环是注定的，但人是否参与其中是可选的、个人的和经验性的。
Okay. All right. So they're saying that which comes from the Father is like the Father eternal, and this is just as true because personality is a gift from God the Father. You can't kill it. It's eternal. Any gift from God is perfect, is eternal. So we can't kill our personality. If we choose not to survive, our identity will be gone. But our personality will merge again with the Supreme Being. So it will be absorbed back into God. It will go back to God. But in this case, the Supreme Being, which is the experiential God. And it will become part of the Supreme, which is everything of value, everything wonderful about our personality, everything we experience will become part of the Supreme. So it won't be thrown away, it won't be lost, it won't be buried, it won't be burnt. It'll live forever, but we won't be part of it. Our choice, when we survive or not, when we choose to follow God or not, we're basically saying, do you want to go with your personality do you want to stay with your personality forever? Or do you want to let your personality go back to God and you stop living? We never completely die. Our personality will always live, but we choose whether or not to live, to be part of it.
这一
This-
段哈，它就是这个，因为这个啥呀，就是人格是永恒的，但是就个体身份而言，是一种有条件的永恒实相。就如果我们回应天父的旨意呢，神格将实现神灵命运。但是人必须选择是否参与这样实现这样，就是说个体的人，他是可以选择是否参与这样的命运。就是说他的他的身份呢，可以是有条件的永恒实相。你就是说，你选择续存，那就是跟人格一起就是续存，但是你不想选择永久续存，那么你的身份就失去了嘛。但是呢，你这些经验呢，会相当于去这些经验都可以就是都成为自然的，就成为这个经验性神灵的一部分，也就是至高存在者的一部分。所以就是说，你的经验没有白费，但是你作为一个，你是否参与这个去实现那永恒的神灵命运，这个是你可以选择的。
它这里的 attain deity destiny 就是说，指的是我们最终如果到最高会成为终局者，是指的这条路是吗？
对，并不是所有的，因为这里边的人格其实对应赛斯资料里边是存有的概念，只要存有它是相当于是神赐的，是永恒的，这个是不变。但是有哪一个具体下面他那个系统当中人格就是相当于一些的变体，一些的孙悟空变出这么多了，可能有一个他对就是有一个他可能达到了续存，其他的有可能就说你撒这么多种子吧，都是神的种子，都是这一个同样的那个基因一样，同样的种子，但是呢，有些种子就长出来了，有繁育的功能，它就续存了嘛。有些种子它可能就在地底下长着长着，也许就死了嘛，就没有达到续存。但是没有达到续存那一部分，相当于它的经验也被 recycle 了，也被这个循环利用了，也不是说就完全没有价值、没有意义啊，相当于这个废物回收，它也都回收到
对，循环了，
对，也都是有那个的，它就对其他的人格的续存啊，或者对现在续存的这个人格啊，往下继续走也都是有意义的，应该是这么想啊。
Okay, everything good?
Yes.
So really, this whole section is about how this whole section is about how we use our free will to choose to survive.
相当于这整个的这一部分呢，就相当于怎么样用我们的自由意志去选择续存。
但我还有疑问，上一周读的这个，就是讲到这个拒绝续存，海蒂是说就是拒绝神，拒绝相信神，这就是拒绝续存，是这样吗？还是说人必须声称就是我不想续存了，才是拒绝续存？拒绝续存是以什么样一种形式？那个确认的，就是从个体来说。
Cindy's question that how do we define refusal of survival, reject survival? So that person has to announce that, or he has to kind of act like rejection. What's what embodify rejection of survival?
Okay, do you know what sentence you're talking about?
it's in last week we talk about three types of
Yes, yes,
yeah.
death. Three types of death.
And the first is types of death. The
Moral
first is
bankrupt.
spiritual death. It's to reject it, which is a final. It reject to survive, but it didn't say what it did to show that, to confirm that this personality reject to survive.
Well,
The number
first
one. Yeah.
Yeah, number one, spiritual death.
yes. First of all, what we're reading today, you missed the first section, but what they talked about there, when you reject survival, your thought adjuster says that you rejected it, your angel says you rejected it, then it goes all the way up to the Ancients of Days at the super universe headquarters, and the universal censors look at everything, and then they decide you reject it, and then the Ancients of Days have to sign off on it. So it's no mistake is ever made. If you reject survival, you get every opportunity. If anyone along the way thinks, wait a minute, maybe they haven't completely rejected, maybe there's a chance for this person, you're given that chance. So it's not like, hey, it's not like when someone commits suicide on Earth, for instance, they're rejecting their temporal, their material survival. But that doesn't, they think they're killing themselves completely, but that doesn't mean they're killing themselves spiritually. Many people who commit suicide are given another chance to live spiritually. So it's not a quick and easy decision that we make just by ourselves. They have to look into our hearts and souls and see if there's any chance we want to survive. That's first of all.
Yeah.
对，他就是审理的，问题就是怎么样判断这个人他灵智就是灵性死亡。那么，海蒂说就是回到这个，他就是经过很严格的审查的程序，你的思想调整者啊、天使啊都给出这样的意见，然后那个万有监察者啊，还有那些反射性的。同事啊，也要就是去验证这样的发现，然后呢，就是那个温顿的那个就超级宇宙的统治者，也就是这才能够就是释放这个下令释放这个内住调整者，就是脱离，那个海蒂强调就是这个不是。好像不是那么容易，就我们从人的层面好像不太容易去判定。即使就是在一个自杀的这种情形，那个人也许他以为他就是一自杀一了百了，什么都死了，什么都不存在了。可是实际上他有可能他只是就是杀掉这物质的身体，但是他还可能给其他的机会灵性的续存。
There may be, there probably are different ways of rejecting survival. Probably different people are able to reject survival in different ways. I can tell you one way that they describe in the book in another section.
那个凡人哈拒绝续存大概有很多的方式，他说书中大概至少提到过一种吧。
One way, okay, I can tell you two ways. One way is when people are very primitive on a planet, when there are a lot of primitive beings, they just don't have the spiritual capacity to they don't survive because they're not spiritually receptive enough. They're just not spiritual beings. They don't even have thought adjusters. So that's not us. That's on a more primitive planet. Since Jesus came to our planet, we all have thought adjusters.
那就是啊，他说是两种，一种就是说这个星球的进化程度比较低嘛，比较原始嘛，那个人普遍的缺乏灵性的能力，就是没有接纳程度啊，这个能力比较差，所以这种续存的概率很低。但是自从耶稣来到地球，那么他就是相当于用真理之灵哈，就是覆盖这个地球之后，大概就是每一个人都会被分配到这个思想调整者，所以状况会有改变。
No, I made a mistake. Jesus gave us the spirit of truth. That we didn't have that before he was here. But I think we've all had thought adjusters for much, much longer.
I think you are right at the first place. Since Jesus, it's almost the same time, Jesus grant the earth the spirit of truth. Meanwhile, everyone, when they are reach 6 years old, also they are going to be granted.
I think that's not true though.
The first human being, they already have a thought adjuster before Jesus. Arriving.
I think it's when a planet reaches a certain evolutionary when you're developed to a certain level, because it's not possible that that everyone Jesus met had a thought adjuster. You know what I mean? Everyone, you had the ancient Greeks, you had very evolved people before Jesus came. I'm not sure when it was in Earth's history that everyone got a thought adjuster, but I don't think there was one time when everyone suddenly got one. I think over time, more and more people got them, as we were evolving, until there was a point where just everyone just automatically got one. We can check. We just read about thought adjusters for many weeks, so I'm surprised we don't know this.
对，这个有一点争论，这个地方是不是对？当然就是比较一致的是，耶稣来了之后呢，他是回去之后就是真理之灵就是降临人间。但是至于思想调整者是不是在那个时候每个人都得到，还是在之前思想调整者就已经是就是我们地球是不是已经进化到一个程度，就是每个人都被分配思想调整者？他也不太确定到底什么时候他说也有可能思想调整者就是越来越多的人被分配思想调整者，是一个逐渐发生的过程。
We should all be experts on thought adjusters by now.
也有可能就是我们读过的思想调整者篇章当中也有提到，只是我们突然怎么都想不起来了。
But yes, but anyway, as far as choice goes, okay, so primitive beings, many of them, they're not going to survive. But I don't even think they're choosing. They just don't have the capacity. So that's one category.
I think that's why I ask this question, because if someone is really, really very evil.
Yes, I'm going to talk about that here. Yeah, let me explain that. So the Urantia book does talk about that. It says that it doesn't happen. It's not like you wake up one day and you say, I don't want to survive. It's the decisions you're making. You're constantly rejecting God's guidance, your thought adjuster's guidance, your thought adjuster's leading. So you reject it again and again and again and again. And the more you reject it, the harder it is to hear his leading, to hear his guidance. to become godly. And over time, you become, eventually you become what they say, cosmically insane. And at that point, you're no longer able to differentiate right from wrong. Now, we can think of all these people on this planet that are so completely evil. They're doing things that are so horrific. You know, they can't be saved. They're way too far gone. But they didn't start off that way. It started with one bad decision and another bad decision, and a little bit of greed, a little bit of lying, a little bit of cheating, a little bit, and it just got worse and worse and worse.
对，那前面提到就是原始人类，就是他没有能力，没有这个心智的能力去接受指导，这个是一方面。然后第二种呢，就是就是你选择不选择续存啊，不是一天当中你做出来的决定，而是你持续的去拒绝，主动的去拒绝这个灵性的指导。你拒绝的越多呢，你更难听到这个圣灵啊或者思想调整者给你的告诫。那么最终来讲，你就会那个词叫就是宇宙性的失去理智，就是你已经是没有办法分辨善恶，你就是因为你在错误路上走太远了，就是已经回不来了。就比如说你一开始呢有一点点贪婪，做出一些欺骗的行为，但是这个就是越来越走在那条路上之后，你到最后已经没有办法再回头了。就是像这个在第3部分的第2段当中就说，就是相当于灵智性的破产。灵智性的破产，灵性上面就是没有那种余地再去改变。
所以这个是否续存并不一定完全是有自由意志来选择的，也有可能就宇宙选择了它无法续存，是吧？
它客观上来讲，就是你看灵性上无法偿付，灵智上破产，对，不一定他主动的，他有可能他自己还不自觉，可是他有可能灵性上
有可能自己很想活，但是他已经没有续存的价值，
资本了，
就是
没有资本了，
对，
没有回炉的资本了，你只能是就破产呢，就只能是对吧？你把你的那个剩下的就要到时候就交回去了，就能偿付多少偿付多少，但是你这个灵魂就没有办法。
有点像那种运营公司一样，就破产了就无法续存，并不是说完全是个人决定的这样个人的一个东西。
是的，对，你的小苗你想往上涨，但是你一直就是对吧？你怎么扶持怎么也，它就是没办法长出来，也没办法那个，
它
那不是他
因缘的事情，
就一开始是他就是那个，但他持续的就是拒绝指导，那么到一个点，那只能宣布这个没有续存的那个。
So there are some, I want to always add a little English because there's going to be English people listening, to the recordings also. So it's good if we go back and forth. But if there are some people who reject God, or they're atheists, they want no part of God, or they're Satan worshipers, or they're evil, or they kill people, and they still might transform. Something might happen and they might find God. They might be reborn, born again. So it's very hard for us to look at someone and say, hey, they've rejected survival, they're not going to make it. Or, because some people have major transformations in their life. They choose the wrong path. They do become evil. They do reject God, but then they find him again. But then I do think there's a point where you can see they're so evil, so bad, that there's just no way that they can ever want to be good again.
对，他就是说那个可能是一个无神论者啊，或者是你崇拜撒旦呐、你甚至杀人啊。但是呢，如果有一天你转变了，你就是相当于就是觉醒了嘛，你重新出生了，就可能完全变了一个人。所以就我们人来讲，很难去判断哪一个人是永久性的拒绝续存的。就是这个人他得坏到一定的程度，就是不可能再回来了，并且他也不想再做好了啊，这种就是灵智性的破产了，灵性的破产。灵性上无法偿付，灵智上破产，所以这个东西不是我们人拿我们的主观的判断能判断出来的。
And did I miss anything interesting when you guys were speaking?
No, we all agree that it's hard to tell by ourselves or by anybody else whether or not this person is spiritually insolvent or morally bankrupt.
Yes. But I do think there's a point where, I'm learning more and more about these, the evil that, I'm studying these, children, the survivors of sex trafficking and this. I mean, there is unbelievable evil on this planet right now. I mean, there's, the serial killers, but there's people just as bad as serial killers who are maybe in positions of power and prestige, but then they have another life, a secret life. And these are starting to come to light. And I'm just telling you, I can't imagine people who do the things that they do who could ever, because the Urantia book says that at some point, when you keep rejecting God, you become cosmically insane, which means at that point you can't differentiate good from bad. So in other words, once you're cosmically insane, you can't choose God. You're too far gone. So your free will is the tool that we have to choose God, to choose survival. But once you're cosmically insane, your free will doesn't mean anything, because you no longer have the ability. If you're mortally insane, physically insane, that doesn't matter, because you'll get another chance. But once you're spiritually insane, you're dead. You're already spiritually dead. You're not going to choose survival.
他就说他研究一些的比如说贩卖儿童生存下来的那些受害者呀，还有什么那些的连环杀手啦，还有就是身居高位，但是他们就表面的生活跟背后的生活完全两套啊。这些人就是你就可以看到，真的有一些非常邪恶的人。那么他们到了一个点，就是达到那种宇宙性的失去理智，那么他们是没有办法分辨善恶，没有失去这个能力去选择神，所以他们那个自由意志呢，对他们来说，没有任何意义，因为他们已经失去选择的能力。所以这些人呢，就相当于灵性上他们就是死了。
Now you can be sure, the universe and our thought adjusters, our angels, everyone wants us to survive. So you can be sure that these people who are choosing spiritual death while on this planet, you can be sure that there's constant interventions, that there's their thought adjuster's doing everything possible to get them on the right path. You know, it's not like they're abandoned, but they're just rejecting it.
对，就是他们的思想调整者啊，宇宙啊，他们你肯定就是进行过持续的干预，这些人也不是说就被遗弃了的，不管的，他们也是肯定也持续的干预，但是呢，他们还是选择了就是说走上这个灵智死亡的道路。
但我想，就这些不续存的也回到了这个至高
神之至高
存在，至高存在者是吧？所以他们也是作为神的经验的一部分，用来改善，作为教训，可能反面教材来改善整个宇宙。
我觉得是的，对。
嗯
So Shirley said, okay, all these people, although they are not going to survive spiritually, but their experience although feed into the supreme being, so be part of his
Yeah,
his
their personalities will survive as part of the supreme being. All their personalities. We just read that.
Yeah. I mean, we can consider their lesson learned for all the rest of us to improve the universe, maybe.
Of course, I think so. Absolutely. Not only that, but there's good in them. They might have a great sense of humor. They might have done some good deeds when they were younger. They might have had some brilliant thoughts. So all those get absorbed in the Supreme, and then we get to share everything with the Supreme in some way.
对，那个对那些这些人，他虽然有些方面很恶啊，也许，但是他也有别的优点啊，也许他有幽默感啦，或者年轻的时候也是有很多的聪明的点子啦，就这些的优良的地方也是有好处的，所以也是也是被那个神的至高者都吸收进来了，就相当于也是我们。可以学习的经验教训吧。
And you know, every single human being or personality is unique, right? So they might have unique traits that are good traits. You know, they might have, some kind of quirkiness or great memory or, some kind of abilities. So it's not like that gets thrown away. Everything good about them gets before they die. Everything good about them gets absorbed into the Supreme. The universe doesn't waste anything. Nothing gets thrown away. Nothing good goes to waste.
他们可能有一些好的一些的品质啦，就是比如说记忆力很好啊，或者怎么样，就是宇宙不会扔掉任何有用的东西。
So let's read on. Ricky, do you know, should I start at this sentence, at mortal identity is a transient? Is that where I'm starting? Mortal identity is a transient time life condition in the universe. I think it is.
Hold on. I'm going to the fifth one.
There it
第
is.
二段你读了没，沈丽？第二段也读
读了
了。
2段，
OK，
要从第3段
mortal
model identity
Yeah,
这里
okay,
开
good.
始。
Okay, I just wanted to be sure. All right, mortal identity is a transient mortal identity. Okay, because we're mortals, that's this life. Mortal identity is a transient time life condition in the universe. It is real only insofar as the personality elects to become a continuing universe phenomenon. This is the essential difference between man and an energy system. The energy system must continue. It has no choice. but man has everything to do with determining his own destiny. The adjuster is truly the path to paradise, but man himself must pursue that path by his own deciding, his free will choosing. And I'll read the next. Human beings possess identity only in the material sense. Such qualities of the self are expressed by the material mind as it functions in the energy system of the intellect. When it is said that man has identity, it is recognized that he is in possession of a mind circuit which has been placed in subordination to the act and choosing of the will of the human personality. But this is a material and purely temporary manifestation, just as the human embryo is a transient parasitic stage of human life. Human beings, from a cosmic perspective, are born, live, and die in a relative instant of time. They are not enduring, but mortal personality, through his own choosing, possesses the power of transferring its seat of identity from the passing material intellect system to the higher Urantia soul system, which, in association with the thought adjuster, is created as a new vehicle for personality manifestation.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so brilliant.
上面一点。
Yeah.
凡人身份是宇宙中短暂的时间生命状态，只有当人格选择成为一个持续的宇宙现象时，它才是真实存在的。这是人与能量系统之间的本质区别。能量系统必须持续存在，它没有选择，但人与决定自己命运有着密切关系。调整者确实是通往天堂的道路，但人自己必须通过他自己的决定，他的自由意志选择走上这条道路。人类只有在物质意义上拥有身份，自我的这些特质通过物质心智来表达，因为物质心智在质性能量系统中运作。说人具有身份，这是承认他拥有一个心智回路，这心智回路从属于人类人格意志的行为和选择，但这是一种物质的、纯粹、暂时性的呈现，就像人类胚胎是人类生命的一个短暂寄生阶段一样。从宇宙的角度来看，人类在相对瞬间的时间内出生、生活和死亡，他们并非永恒存在。但是凡人的人格通过自己的选择拥有这样的全能，那就是将其身份的位置从短暂的物质质性系统转移到更高的灵智性灵魂系统。这个灵智性灵魂系统与思想调整者相结合，被创建为人格表现的新载体。
Wonderful, right? Shirley, isn't this wonderful?
Yeah.
It's so, clearly stated about, the
Our life is really short.
Yeah, I think this is pretty clear too.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't even think it needs translation. It's so clear.
Yes, yeah, we got a good yeah, we are also understand what it means,
Yeah, it's not
reading the translation.
it's not very confusing at all. We we live in an instant of time here. This life is an instant of time.
Especially, the metaphor of a human embryo, that make a lot of sense.
Yeah,
we have the potential of survival to the next world, but we may not necessarily survive.
Well,
Yeah.
Well, that's one thing that this book keeps saying over and over again, is that we're not really, we're like in probation. We're not really alive as far as the cosmic universes go. We're potentially alive. This is a trial for us. We're here to choose whether or not we want to survive, but we're not survivors. You know, we're not really registered as spiritual beings yet. That we're just here to have to be given the choice. It's like we're not in cosmic reality, we're not alive yet. We're being given the choice whether or not we want to be alive or not, spiritually.
对，所以这个就是这个感慨，就是我们相当于在一个临时释放的这么一个，就是过渡的这么一个阶段。从宇宙实相来讲，我们只是潜在的活着我们有这个自由意志去选择续存与否，但是我们还没有被正式的登记为一个灵性的存有。还没有活出这个宇宙的实相，就是从宇宙实相来讲，我们就像这一段里边讲到是一个胚胎嘛，你胚胎你可以说是一个人，但是呢，他还没有活出人的实相，只是有潜在的可以生存的成为就是活出宇宙实相的这个潜力，这个是物质凡人的这个意义。
You know, and we'll when we get to the Jesus papers, we'll see that Jesus always spoke, they call it parables. He used, and they're like metaphors. He always used stories to explain spiritual things.
对，我们下一段读第4部分的时候会看到耶稣经常的用比喻用那个类比的方式来，就是故事的方式来表达这个灵性的道理。
One reason he did this was because for legal reasons, because the Sanhedrin, the religious Jewish authorities were always trying to put him in prison and arrest him for saying something, you know, sacrilegious that went against their laws. So if he spoke in metaphors and parables, they couldn't do that. That's one reason.
一方面来讲呢，就是耶稣要自我保护，就是因为那个时候那些的犹太宗教的人，就是找各种借口要把他给抓起来投入监狱，那么他不能明确的说一些反对当时宗教的话，所以他要用比喻，用寓言。
Yeah, I believe that's the main reason.
这是主要的理由。
But another reason is because people like stories.
另一个理由是，人们喜欢讲故事，喜欢故事。
And also many people are very visual thinkers. So if you give them a picture, they understand it better.
对，就是大部分人呢是属于那个视觉化的思想者，所以你给他们一个图画，他们就可以协助他们很好的思考。
Or if you put it in terms that they understand, then it makes sense to them.
或者你就是说一些术语的时候，你这个用这种方式呢，让他们更好懂一些。
Because when we start talking about all these spiritual things, we're talking about things we have no experience with, no knowledge of.
对，经常对灵性教导讲的一些实相，是我们没有办法，没有经验和体会，也没有知识，事先的知识。
But so often there are comparisons. In so many ways, our human life is like a material reflection of the spiritual life that we will, a very primitive, very rough, but in so many ways, there are so many parallels to the spiritual life.
对这个凡人的生活呢，很多情况下是一个灵性生活的一个反应，一个原始的对平行的这么一个生命。
So in many ways, this first life of ours, this life on earth, is like a garden, and God is the gardener, and he throws the seeds into the ground, and some will sprout and some won't.
对，就相当于就是我们在地球上这第一次的生命，第一个生命呢，就像那个我们像一个园子一样，这个地方是个园子，神是那个种植者，那么他撒一些种子到地里边，有一些种子会发芽，有一些种子不发芽。
The beautiful thing is that it's up to us if we want to sprout or not.
对，这个比较美丽之处在于，这个是取决于我们是要发芽还是不发芽。
And then many people think, well, there is no God, because why do some people, grow up in such rich, beautiful soil, and some people have to grow up in such poor soil with no water and, predators and insects, and, why do some people have it so much harder than others? There couldn't be a God.
有的人就抱怨说，这肯定没有神，不然的话，为什么有些人呢就被种到这个比较土壤肥沃的比较肥沃的土壤，有些却被种到贫瘠的土壤，又没有水啊，还有那些的天敌啊、昆虫啊来打扰。
But the Urantia book says you can survive in any soil. Don't worry about the soil. There's so many. God gives you an eternal personality that doesn't care about soil. He gives you a thought adjuster that's gonna help you through any condition. He gives you guardian angels that are gonna look after you. Jesus poured out the spirit of truth that's going to guide you and console you and comfort you. So you can survive in any soil.
但是《晕染下之书》告诉我们，实际上你可以就活过任何的生存过任何的土壤，你被给予这个永恒的人格，然后有饲养调整者来领驾护航，然后你在任何的情况下呢，这个护卫天使呢，还在所有的情况下都看护你、照顾你。然后呢，耶稣又降下这个真理之灵，也在安抚你和指导你。
But then it gets even better, because if you survive in the desert, in the tough soil, you're going to be even stronger than the plant that had the good soil. You're going to be so tough and so strong that you're going to be given special assignments and special duties and special rewards, because it took you so much to survive that you're going to be rewarded for it. For example, you could be an agandanter.
对，并且还更好的还在后头。我们如果能够生存过这些的这么差的土壤，在沙漠里都能存活，那么将来的未来的世界给你好土，你就会长得更好，因为你已经被锻炼得非常的坚强和勇敢，并且你会得到特别的奖赏，然后会给予特别的使命。并且可能成为那种阿根当场坚定不移者。这坚定不移者是在白人种植者团队一个比较特别的，最光荣的那么一个级别。
So all the things that we look at in this world that seems so unfair. In eternity, they're extremely fair. There is justice. There is no, God is always fair, but we can't see it from our vantage point. But when you look at it through God's eyes, it's more than fair. Everything you go through, like what Anne has gone through with her son, everything is going to make you stronger and better. You will be rewarded for all these difficult things you go through. So it's always fair. In the long run, it's always fair. It's even more than fair because you have an added advantage. You're stronger. You're more trusted. You're in a special group of specially tested people, they know you're not going to fail because you've already been through so many tests.
Yeah. 对，就是我们经常看到这个世界有这么多的不公平，但是从永恒的眼光来看，这个宇宙是极端的公平的。那么，我们会经历过一些的苦难，比如说Anne她是失去了那么年幼的孩子，然后像这些的所有的这些的那个苦难和经历，都使我们更加的强壮，然后就是从长远来看都是给我们益处的，我们更被信任，并且会被分配到特别的那个级别的终局者团队执行特别的任务，因为我们就是艰苦的任务都没有失败，那么经历了很多的考验，那么所以我们会被给予特别的任务去。
God, it's not like we don't have an unfeeling God who doesn't care. We have a God, and we have Jesus, and we have God. They love, they feel sadness, they feel happiness, they feel joy. I mean, a million times more than we can, but we are made in their image. It's not like they don't understand what we're going through. They know exactly what we're going through, and they're going to, and we're going to be rewarded. But we have to have faith. We have to believe that.
对，那个耶稣啊，天父啊，他们也有这些的情感呢，像悲伤啊、幸福啊、喜乐呀。我们就是按着他们的形象被造的，他们当然知道我们所经历的一切，所以我们就是要有这个信仰。
Okay, so we're ready for the next paragraph?
Yes.
And it is this very power of choice, the universe insignia of free will creaturehood, that constitutes man's greatest opportunity and his supreme cosmic responsibility. Upon the integrity of the human volition depends the eternal destiny of the future finaliter. Upon the sincerity of the mortal free will, the divine adjuster depends for eternal personality. Upon the faithfulness of mortal choice, the universal Father depends for the realization of a new ascending sun. Upon the steadfastness and wisdom of decision actions, the Supreme Being depends for the actuality of experiential evolution. I'll end there.
下面一点，这里对。 好了。
Yeah, and it is,
嗯
yeah.
Yeah. 正是这种选择权能、自由意志造物的宇宙正章，构成了人类最大的机遇及其至高宇宙责任。个人意志的健全决定了未来终局者的永恒命运。神性调整者依靠凡人自由意志的真诚来实现永恒人格。万有之父依靠凡人选择的忠诚，造就新的扬升之子；至高存在者依靠决定行动的坚定和智慧，来实现经验性进化。OK，
So, so they talk about integrity, sincerity, faithfulness, steadfastness, and they're saying it's not just these decisions we make affect our thought adjusters depending on us. The supreme being is depending on us. When we choose to survive, upon the integrity of the universe, the eternal destiny of the future finality. Upon the sincerity of the divine adjuster depend. The thought adjuster wants to share our personality with us. They can only do that if we are sincerely, if we use our free will sincerely. So it's not just affecting us, it's affecting our thought adjusters. Future is in our hands. Now they're going to survive either way, but they want to survive with us. They've made a commitment to us. They've lived with us. They love us. Of course they want us to survive, but it depends on us. Their survival with us depends on us.
对，这一章这一段呢，提到这个真诚啊，然后呢，忠诚的选择呀，这个行动的坚定和智慧啊，就是说思想调整者呢，他是就是要跟我们分享我们的人格的。那么，所以我们的自由意志如果忠诚的选择跟神去融合，那么然后思想调整者才能达到这个通过融合，然后跟我们生活在一起。他爱我们，所以他是想跟我们一起存活下来。
So, and the universal Father depends upon the faithfulness of mortal choice. The universal Father depends for the realization of a new ascending Son. There's so many billions of beings in the universe. It's hard for us to comprehend that God loves each one of us individually. But of course he does. We wouldn't give us a thought adjuster, part of himself in us if he didn't. But just, just like Anne loves her son and wants to make sure that he survives, that's how God feels about us. So when we choose to survive, it's a gift to God. God created us. When you plant those seeds in the dirt, you want them to come up. You want each one to become a plant. So our survival, changes the destiny of our thought adjuster. It gives God the Father a new son, and then it also says that the steadfastness and wisdom of decision actions, the supreme being depends for the actuality of experiential evolution. So the supreme being is actually evolving with all of us, all the beings in the universe, in the current present universes. So every time someone chooses life, it actually is part of the supreme being. Now, Now, even if we don't, we get absorbed by the Supreme Being. But he is a combination of all of us. Living, choosing, surviving beings.
对，就好像安希望他的儿子就是达到续存一样，那个神他在他的园子里就是种下这些种子的时候，他也希望每一个种子都能够长出来。那么，对，就是人格是就是里面长出来的每一个那个都是相当于他都是就是他的一个新的儿子啊，就相当于就给了神一个新的儿子啊，新的孩子啊，每一个长出来其实都是对神的一个礼物啊，所以他是希望每个人都能续存下来的。当然如果没有续存的话，那也每个人我们也都成为一切那个至高存在者神的一部分，就形成就是对没有续存也成为他的一部分。
So
续存当然是最好的，但是这是取决于我们的个人意志的选择。
Okay. Though the cosmic circles of personality growth must eventually be attained, those are, the cosmic circles we're always talking about. If through no fault of your own, the accidents of time and the handicaps of material existence prevent your mastering these levels on your native planet, if your intentions and desires are of survival value, there are issued the decrees of probation extension. You will be afforded additional time in which to prove yourself. If ever there is doubt as to the advisability of advancing a human identity to the mansion worlds, the universe governments invariably rule in the personal interests of that individual. They unhesitatingly advance such a soul to the status of a transitional being while they continue their observations of the emerging Urantia intent and spiritual purpose. Thus, divine justice is certain of achievement, and divine mercy is accorded further opportunity for extending its ministry. I'm going to keep reading. The governments of Orvantan and Nebadon do not claim absolute perfection for the detailed working of the universal plan of mortal repersonalization, but they do claim to, and actually do, manifest patience, tolerance, understanding, and merciful sympathy. We had rather assume the risk of a system rebellion than to court the hazard of depriving one struggling mortal from any evolutionary world of the eternal joy of pursuing the ascending career. This does not mean that human beings are to enjoy a second opportunity in the face of the rejection of the first. Not at all. But it does signify that all will creatures are to experience one true opportunity to make one undoubted, self-conscious, and final choice. The sovereign judges of the universes will not deprive any being of personality status who has not finally and fully made the eternal choice. The soul of man must and will be given full and ample opportunity to reveal its true intent and real purpose. I think that answers some of your questions, Shunli, but you can read.
OK，OK，虽然人格成长的宇宙圈最终必须会达到，但如果时间的意外和物质存在的障碍使你在原生行星无法达成，不是因为你的错， 如果你的意图和渴望具有续存价值，那么延长适用的裁决就会发布，你将获得更多的时间来证明自己。如果对于将一个人类身份提升到宅下世界的适宜性存在疑虑，宇宙政府总是会以该个体的个人利益为重。他们将这样一个灵魂迅速提升到过渡性存在的状态，同时继续观察出现的灵智性意图和灵性目标。因此，神圣的正义必将实现，神圣仁慈将有更多机会会延伸其侍奉。奥温顿和内巴顿的政府并未宣称凡人在人格化的宇宙计划的细节工作是绝对完美的，但他们的确宣称并实际上的确展现出耐心、宽容、理解和仁慈的同情心。我们宁愿承担系统反叛的风险，也不愿去冒剥夺任何一个努力奋斗的凡人在任何一个进化世界上追求扬升生涯的永恒喜悦的风险。是读到这儿吗？
Yeah, I think so.
I'm kind of sad because
You finished the 5-2, 5-8, right? 1-1-2-5-8.
I went
Career, the ascending career, right? Or you went
前
through
面一段就是
no, I think I went to
1、2、3、3。
no, I think I did. I read this does not mean that human beings are. I read that one too.
那沈丽，你再把5-9再读了吧。
5、9，这并不意味着人类将在第一次拒绝后享有第二次机会，绝不是这样。但这确实表示，所有意志受造物将经历一次真正的机会，去做出一个不容置疑、有自我意识和最终的选择。宇宙的至高裁决者不会剥夺任何一个尚未最终和完全做出永恒选择的存有的人格状态。人的灵魂必将获得充分和充足的机会，来显示其真正的意图和真实的目的。
Okay.
Okay. All right. So there is one.
Yeah, we are
string-
going to, after this done, we are going to get done today.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Though the cosmic circles appear to be tainted. Okay, so they're just saying that, if you can't attain all your 7 psychic circles on this world, they have to be attained. You have to attain these 7 psychic circles. But if you don't do it on this world, they're saying they'll give you through no fault of your own. So that's interesting that they say through no fault of your own. So if you choose not to, that's not so good. But if you're trying to evolve and to be spiritual and to, and you just can't make your all 7 circles, which I would say most people don't, if you're prevented, the accidents of times, the handicaps of material existence prevent you from mastering these levels on your native planet. If your intentions and desires are to survive, there are issued decrees of your probation extension. You will be afforded in other words, you'll be able to do that on the mansion. You'll be given all the time you need on the mansion worlds to achieve these 7 psychic circles. It's always about your intent. If you want to do it, if it's your intention to survive, they're going to give you the time you need to master your psychic circles on the next world.
他说这个7个心灵圆圈吧， 如果在这一世你达不到啊，各种的时间的意外、物质存在的障碍啊，你无法达，但是你的意图和渴望，具有续存价值，那么也会就是延长适用的裁决也会做出，让你获得更多的时间来证明自己，那就是说你还会在下一个世界，然后再给予成长的机会，然后来最终达到这个人格成长的宇宙圆圈。
But I guess we should point out they're not just saying that, hey, if you want to do it, but you're too lazy to do it or you don't bother to do it. They're saying if you want to do it and through no fault of your own, the accidents of time and the handicaps of material existence prevent your mastering. So they are making it clear it's not just wanting it and desiring it. It's also trying to do it. And you don't succeed, but you tried. That's what they're saying.
就是你自己的渴望，并且你有这种努力的意图，这个是很重要的。
And then the next paragraph is if there's any doubt, I kind of talked about this before, but if there's any doubt, you're always given the benefit of the doubt. If they say we're not 100% sure if this person wants to survive or not, let's just put an end to them. They don't do that. When there's any doubt at all, they say, let's give them a chance. Let's give them one more chance and let's see how they do.
对，下一段就是说，当有疑问的时候，就是说，这个人到底是要不要把他提升到整下世界？有疑问的时候，宇宙政府总是就是说，会以个体的个人利益为重，然后先把它放到一个过渡性的存在状态。然后继续考察嘛，继续考察它的临近性意图啊，临近性目标，就是不会说啊，那就他既然不太确定，那么就给他不让他续存，他就是想方设法是让你有机会再给你机会。
And this is a beautiful sentence when they say, we had rather assume the risk of a system rebellion than to court the hazard of depriving one struggling mortal from any evolutionary world of the eternal joy of pursuing the ascending career. So that's how this universe has absolute reverence for individual free will, for individual, not planetary, not group, not race, not type of being, but each individual. They would rather have an entire system, billions of people be harmed in one way than deprive one being of the choice to choose to survive. That's really one of the most important things in all of the universe is your individual choice for your own destiny. That's the greatest gift in the universe.
对，他这个58的最后这一句是非常的美的。这一句话说：“我们宁愿承担系统反叛的风险，也不愿去冒剥夺任何一个努力奋斗的凡人在任何一片进化世界上追求养生生涯的永恒喜悦的风险。”就是，这个人格是一个非常伟大的礼物。上天给的一个伟大的礼物，他不轻易的把我们剥夺续存的机会。
And then this answers Shunli's question a little bit here that addresses the conversation we were having. Then it says, this does not mean that human beings are to enjoy a second opportunity in the face of the rejection of a first. Not at all. But it does signify that all will creatures are to experience one true opportunity to make one undoubted self-conscious and final choice. So that's what I was trying to say before, which is once you make that choice, there's no going back. When you've rejected God completely, it's done. It's over. You don't get a second chance, but you get every single opportunity until you make that final choice. And if there's any doubt at all about your making a final choice, you're given more time. Because in other words, you can commit suicide and you're still given another choice. You're still shown all these people, these near-death experiencers. Some of them do commit suicide, or they live such a life that it ended in their death because they were so careless about their life. They didn't really give it any value. And then they're given another choice. They're shown eternal life. They're shown God's love. So there's unbelievable mercy. But once you reject it, once you're given that choice and you reject it, that's it. It's done. There's no second choice.
对，这个第五段呢，就说如果你的最后的选择已经做出来了，那也是没有第二次机会的，也是没有的。那有一些尝试自杀的人呢，他们出于对生命的一种误解呢，然后他们在一种濒死状态，如果是能够体会到上帝的爱，那么实际上对他们也是一种很大的震动。他们回来之后，可能状貌就不一样了。他们也给予这个续存的机会。
You know, I kind of forget where I stopped. I know we're ending it, but I just want to know where. Did I read when the more spiritually and cosmically advanced mortals die?
Well, if you think it's very related to whatever the paragraph we read, we can read that. I don't think you have ever.
I don't think I think I should read that because it's kind of like part of that section.
Okay. Sure.
Okay. When the more spiritually and cosmically advanced mortals die, they proceed immediately to the mansion worlds. In general, this provision operates with those who have had assigned to them personal seraphic guardians. Other mortals, this is actually interesting, other mortals may be detained until such time as the adjudication of their affairs has been completed, after which they may proceed to the mansion worlds, or they may be assigned to the ranks of the sleeping survivors who will be repersonalized en masse at the end of the current planetary dispensation.
当更具灵性和宇宙进步的凡人死亡时，他们立即前往宅下世界。一般而言，这个规定适用于那些被分配了个人天使守护者的人。其他凡人可能会被阻留，直到完成对他们事物的裁决之后，他们可以前往宅下世界，或者被分配到休眠中的续存者队伍中。休眠中的续存者将在当前行星天命时代结束时被集体再人格化。
So I'm just looking ahead because we only have, I mean, I know we're done for today after I talk about this last paragraph, but we only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We only have about 6 pages left. I'm just kind of sad because this is the last The last 6 pages we'll read by our solitary messenger.
哦，对，他说大概还有那个，应该有7段，不是10多段，还有好几页，他说。但是他觉得悲伤是因为这是我们读那个单独使者写的关于思想朝圣者的最后一篇了。
And I have such a special love in my heart for solitary messengers.
他就是对单独使者是非常的有偏爱。
I can't help it, I just do.
那就是非常的偏爱这个，所以他也喜欢他写的文章啊。
And this is the last paper this solitary messenger wrote. After that, no more solitary messenger.
对，这一篇1、2篇读完之后，那么就是他写的最后一篇。
So the next section is about the angels, and that of course is written by the chief of Seraphim stationed on Urantia. Let me see who wrote the paper on the Supreme, because that's the last paper we'll read before the Jesus papers. The Supreme papers are written by, oh, a mighty messenger. That's fun. That's a mighty messenger is a someone who is one time a mortal being like us. So that's exciting to have a paper written by a mighty messenger. So yeah, all the supreme beings are written by a mighty messenger. That's exciting.
关于至高存在者的文章是由强大使者写的。强大使者是以前是凡人，从凡人就是慢慢进化成长起来的。
Okay, so let me if you talk about this last paragraph. When the spiritually and cosmically advanced mortals die, they proceed immediately to the mansion world. In general, oh, this to me is very interesting, because I'm always saying that you either go to the mansion world in 3 days or you become a sleeping survivor. But here, this paragraph, I think this is the only place in the book that says there's a third option. I mean, aside from translation. So that's, you can be translated. That's very, very rare on our planet. Okay, you can become a sleeping survivor. No, you can reject life, in which case you're not going to go to the Urantia worlds. You might become a sleeping survivor. I've never been sure when you reject life when it actually happens, but you definitely don't go to the Urantia worlds. So that's one option. Number 2, you can be so advanced and evolved that you translate and go immediately to the mansion worlds just from this life. You burst into flames and then you're gone. Number 3, you can choose to survive and become a sleeping survivor and then wait till the next dispensation on the planet and go with a whole group of people to the Urantia worlds. Number 3, you can reach your third circle or the equivalent, have your own personal guardian angel, and go in 3 days. But now they're saying there's a fourth. This paragraph says there's a fourth option.
前面我们提了有3种嘛，那个续存的方式。一种是你这个肉身死亡马上转移，第2种是达到第3个心灵圆圈，有了自己的个人的守护天使。
I mean a fifth option.
是。不是，第2种应该是3天以后复活那种，第3种是你就是休眠的续存者，到时候这个行星天命时期结束的时候，大批量的就是转移到宅下世界。他说现在这一段说的是第4种。
So those are the 4 options that we all know about. But here they're saying there's a 5th option. I think this is the only place in the book that it says this. It says other mortals may be detained until such time as the adjudication of their affairs has been completed after which they may proceed to the mansion worlds. So I think,
No, that's a
no, because the first
no.
one is,
That's the fourth is also the third. They are
no,
sleep
no,
forever.
what, no, the first, this here, okay. The first one is when the more spiritually and cosmically they proceed immediately to the mansion worlds. Oh, you mean that's the translation? No, that's the third day. In general, this provision operates with those who have been assigned to, yeah, no, that's the other mortals may be detained until such time as the adjudication of their affairs has been completed. That's the first one is the 3 days. They're not talking about translation, I don't think. Because they would say that you could be translated. And plus, so few people on our planet ever are. So because when the more spiritually and cosmically advanced mortals die, they proceed immediately to the mansion worlds. In general, this provision operates with those who have had assigned to them personal seraphic guardians. See, a lot of people, not most, but a lot of people do reach their third circle and get personal guardian angels here, I believe. Those people don't translate. You would definitely have to achieve your first circle in order to translate. You're not going to translate because you achieved your third circle. So these are the people who go in 3 days to the mansion worlds.
Yeah, I can't differentiate first and second.
Circles?
They're all kind of go to the Marisha world in 3 days. I can't differentiate them immediately. Immediately are those people who reach the third circle?
Yes, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That they are translated. You call it as
No, forget that. Forget the translated. They're not talking about those here. That's a very special category. That's, there's probably been 5 people translated in all the history of maybe 20, maybe 100, and maybe 1,000, but very few. They're not talking about that because I know they're not talking about the translation because, first of all, it's so rare, and secondly, they're describing what they describe when the more spiritually. Oh wait, hold on 1 second. I'm so sorry. Hold on one second.
海蒂说，这里说的第一种就是要等3天，然后去宅下世界，是吧？
我就说我现在迷糊了，没有办法区分第一种跟第二种。第一种他就说前面他不说了，就马上就走了嘛。第二种是要等3天嘛，那个先去神之圣都，然后再回到宅下世界。
海蒂说第一种是只等3天，
不是，我们就按这个迅速的，我们按迅速的这个程度来区分。第一种是马上嘛，他不就说人体自然那些人，他不就马上就去了，转眼就去了，就是像程程都没回到神之圣都。第二种是3天，等3天那种情况，他还是要那个
Okay, I'm back.
要回到神之圣都。
我们听听海蒂怎么说。
Sorry about that.
我不觉得这一段有第4种啊，我不觉得这一段那个 I don't think there is any fourth.
Yes, there is. Listen. So the first sentence, when the more spiritually and cosmically advanced mortals die, they proceed immediately to the mansion worlds. They've said in the section we just read, they have been talking about a lot of people, and they say immediately, but we know that it really takes 3 days. But they say they proceed immediately. They don't say they arrive immediately. Yeah, you go right there, but it takes 3 days to actually end up in your new body on the mansion worlds, unless you translate. They're not talking about translating. because we know they're not talking about translating, because first of all, they don't say you get translated. They say you proceed, and which is what they always say when they're talking about the people who go in 3 days. And then they say, in general, this provision operates with those who have had assigned to them personal seraphic guardians. So that means, in general, most likely, when you reach your third circle and or have a personal guardian angel, which many people do, then that's what you go immediately, you proceed immediately to the mansion worlds. Now it takes 3 days to get there, but you proceed immediately. That's what they're talking about, because a lot of people have a seraphic guardian. If you were to translate, you would have much more than your own guardian angel. You would definitely have reached your first circle, because you only have to reach your third circle. You start with 7, you go to 6, 5, 4, 3, but you only have to reach the third circle to get your own personal guardian angel. You don't even have to reach your first, and very few people translate. You have to be very, very cosmically evolved to translate.
而那种马上转译的，马上转到那个的，那可能就是要达到第一个心灵源泉的，就更高级的那种，达到第3个，然后又有个人护卫天使的，那么他也是要等3天的。
So this is consistent with what it says in many, many places in the book, where if you reach your third circle, or if you have your own guardian angel, you will probably go right to the mansion world. This is very consistent.
跟前面他说是一致的。
Now, it also says that the last sentence says, or they may be assigned to the ranks of sleeping survivors. So that's also more people right now on this planet. In the future, it will change. Right now, most people don't reach the third circle, and they don't have their own personal guardian angel. They have a group guardian angel. That's the majority of people right now. But actually, the majority of people don't even survive right now. But of those that survive, the majority of them become sleeping survivors.
当然，就是大众来讲，大部分是根本连续存都没有办法续存。那么对续存的当中，大部分人实际上他们只有只到那个进化程度，到有这个集体的护卫天使的程度，所以大部分是对那种可能会成为休眠的幸存者的行星天命时代，会集体的去到那个摘下世界去再人格化的。
And those people go in huge groups to the mansion worlds, and then they go to the probation area where they complete their circles before moving on.
这些的那个他们就是要在那个摘下世界，就去到那种的过渡阶段的星球吧，是不是？然后在那儿完成这7个心灵圆圈的塑造、进化、进步。
But then it says right here in the middle of the paragraph, other mortals. This is a group I didn't remember, I didn't know existed. I mean, I've read this, so I guess I forgot it. But other mortals may be detained until such time as the adjudication of their affairs has been completed, after which they may proceed to the mansion worlds. So there's another group that takes a little longer. So they don't become sleeping survivors, but it takes a little longer to sort of process them. So it says that may be detained until such time as the adjudication of their affairs have been completed. So what's that group? I think it might be the people that they're not sure if they should go right to the mansion worlds or become sleeping survivors. So takes a little longer for them, the adjudication of their affairs. I think that means the universal censors and the ancients of days. It's kind of like they're tied up in the court case, takes a little longer.
No, I think what this paragraph means, how the procedure for the sleep survivor group, the same.
Nope, because it says, or they may be assigned to the ranks of the sleeping survivors. So there's two different groups. So other mortals may be detained until such as the time.
Yeah, and those detained are those going to go to the category of sleep survivor.
No, because listen, it does not say that. It says other mortals may be detained until such time as the adjudication of their affairs have been concluded, after which they may proceed to the mansion worlds, or they may be assigned to the ranks of sleeping survivors. So it's one or the other. Or means one or the other, not the same.
就是第10段这个地方就讲到有一些凡人吧会被主流，然后这个裁决有可能决定他们是要马上去宅下世界呢，还是会被分配到休眠中的续存者队伍啊。那就是说实际上对他说的第4部分是第4种是说除了直接被判定是成为那个沉睡的休眠的续存者之外，还有一部分人经过这个被主流经过裁决之后，可能会马上被释放到在下世界。
So you can either go, you've reached your circle, you have a guardian angel, your thought adjuster and your guardian angel say, hey, she's ready to go to the mansion worlds. She's or somebody's not so sure. Maybe it also says your thought adjuster and your guardian angel have to agree in every detail before you go. So like one may say, hey, she's ready, and the other, hey, I'm not so sure. And then the censors have to do their review, and then they decide, yes, we think she is ready, or let's make her a sleeping survivor. That's what it's saying.
对，还就是我前面说的意思。
I mean, in my opinion, you may disagree, but I always say, when I'm not sure, I always say I'm not sure. In this case, to me, it seems very clear.
就是不太确定，但是这个地方它就是根据它是有一个 or 或者就是因为它有2个嘛，就是审查了之后呢，可以直接去到这个宅下世界，或者他们被分配到这个休眠续存者的这个位阶。
I mean, Ricky, this is very surprising to me because for years and years, I've thought that you either go in 3 days or you become a sleeping survivor. I did not realize that there's a kind of in between group that may take more than 3 days, or they have to kind of like decide. So it's news to me. It's new information.
他说这个也是他刚刚发现的，以前没注意到这种，对，以前他就只认为有这3种吧，然后现在他认为好像就又出来一种。
It makes sense though, Ricky, because
Yeah.
they're so meticulous about judgment, about decisions, about they have like groups and censors and aides, and they want total they don't ever want to make a wrong decision. They're so thorough and complete in their Department of Justice.
对，就是他们的司法部门是非常的精确的，非常的审慎的。那么，对，就是希望做出最公正的判决吧。 对每一个那个人格是否续存啊，以什么方式被释放到宰下世界啊，都有很严格的审批程序。
So, I mean, it's not a punishment. They want to do what's best for you. So they're trying to decide, they don't want to send you there if you're not quite ready. You'll go, if you're in that category, you're definitely going to the Urantia world.
Yeah.
I just which group should you be with the sleeping survivors? Because they start off on a little bit of a lower level.
他们就是非常审慎啊，就是考察你的合格性啊，那个是适合现在就被释放过去啊，还是要等一等的呀？这个他们都要根据你的具体的进化的程度啊，然后做对你最适合的一个安排。
And once you're there, you can advance as fast as you like. They're never going to hold you back. You can move, some people advance much faster than others. Some merge with their thought adjusters, much sooner. Some survivors go all the way to Jerusalem, the system capital, before they merge with their thought adjusters.
他说等就是下一个生命之后呢，你那个你完全是你自己的自由意志在继续决定你进步的快慢呢。有的进步快，有的进步慢啊，有的可能直接就到了地方宇宙或者什么系统宇宙的总部去了。对。
No one's ever going to hold you back.
对，没有人就是烂着腿儿，你必须在哪一个级别？对你都是根据你自己的进化程度，自动的就会到那个频率相对应的实相。就是拿我的话说，就是那个。
Except yourself.
对呀，自己自足。相当于就是你在灵智性世界之后呢，对你自己在选择，就是否跟思想调整者永久的去融合，然后进步快慢啊什么的，就是灵魂的续存，并不是说你那个时候你续存了之后，你就跟思想调整者永远的融合了，它还是有一个你自己还要再做决定，你要不要跟思想调整者融合的。
那个 probation period 是指的就是7个心理圆圈达成之前，就是融合之前都叫做试用期，还是从某个阶段开始算试用期
？Shirley's question is, what is the probation period? Is that before you fused with your thought adjuster?
I think what that is that when you get to the Urantia world, if you're from a planet like ours, where people aren't like if you're from a planet that's settled in light and life, I think a lot of those people go right to Jerusalem. So the mansion worlds are really transition worlds where they're, a lot of what we do on the mansion worlds, other beings do on their native planets when they're more evolved. First of all, but I'll continue.
他就说，如果我们呢从那个锚定在光与生命的星球上来的，我们有可能直接就可以到这个系统宇宙的总部了，然后非常多的灵智性世界，它们只是一个过渡的世界。就是像我们从物质星球，然后到进化的下一个，就要进到这些过渡的世界去继续进化。
But there are many, many people who, their heart is good, their intentions are good, but they're really messed up. They're psychologically messed up from this planet. So they really, before they even start the Urantia career, they have to spend time in a kind of probation area where they're really just working on fixing their basic problems, so that they're sort of, it's sort of like going into therapy, so they can kind of work out all their, misconceptions and, crazy, let's say it's self-hatred or jealousy or addictions, or all these kind of things that they're not really ready to advance in the Urantia training program yet. They need to kind of go into a little bit of therapy.
对，就是尤其像我们来自我们这个就是比较这么发展这么差的星球，然后往往他们就是心理上有一些混乱。那个当他们开始他们的灵智性生涯的时候，他们首先要把他们的一些基本的问题要先修理好，然后就是另外一句话就是他们要经过疗愈经过知见方面的修复，就去掉一些的惑见那个偏见，然后自我就是不自爱，没有办法就是爱自己或者嫉妒或者是成瘾这些把这些的都净化掉之后，才能够进入这个灵性训练当中。
I would guess that they have to reach their third psychic circle before they, and have a personal guardian. It doesn't, the book doesn't say this, but I would guess that they probably have to stay in the probation world or area of, or world. It's probably an area of one mansion world where they have to at least reach their third psychic circle and get their own personal guardian angel before they advance. That would be my guess.
他就是猜想有可能那个就是在你达到第3个心理圆圈之前，你可能都会被放在那个考察区域，就是灵智性世界或就是考察星球或者是考察区域，一个灵智性星球的一个考察的区域，适用的区域，就是在你那个没有被分配个人天使之前。
Because I don't recall ever reading about group guardian angels on the Urantia worlds, only on this world.
他没有他想不起来说在灵智性世界有那个集体的护卫天使，好像只有在我们这个物质星球才有集体的护卫天使。
And I know that when you've reached your third circle and you wake up on the Urantia world, the first person you see is your guardian angel, and they go through your entire career with you. That same guardian angel stays with you through your entire career until you finally separate. I think when you go to Havona for the first time, and you can actually reunite in the core of mortal finality, because many angels enter the core of mortal finality.
对，他就说那个你那个达到第3个圆圈之后，你不就是有那个个人护卫天使吗？你这在宅下世界里边醒来的时候，就是见到的就是他，并且他相当于陪伴你整个的那个扬升的生涯。只有到你到达那个中央宇宙的时候才跟他分开，但是呢，最终在那个凡人终结者团队当中，你可能又跟他会合。
Now I could be wrong, but I seem to remember reading that your angel goes through your entire career with you.
对，我有可能记得不一定很准，但是我的确记着这个天使，这个你的个人护卫天使是陪伴你整个的进化生涯的。
And whenever they say angel, they really mean 2 angels because they work in pairs. I
嗯，
mean,
跟
they're
他
and
们
they're
说
they don't just work in pairs, they're created in pairs.
当他们说天使的时候，往往就是指的都是成对的，因为这天使都是成对的造出来的。
So that's kind of a wonderful, that's just an added bonus that you have this unbelievably incredible being that's just going to be with you like for your whole journey.
对，就是这些那个，就这么棒的存有啊，这个天使存有，他会陪伴你整个的旅程，是感觉非常棒的。Yeah, okay. That's a lot for today.
Yeah, you know what, I have a little project that I need to work on that it has your name on it, Ricky. So I'm going to do that right now while I have some energy and focus. So I'll be in touch with you very soon. Like,
No, I'm going to a lunch gathering with my colleague today, so I won't be available today.
That's okay. I'll be in touch.
Maybe later.
I'll keep you posted. Yeah,
Yes.
because
maybe.
I don't really need your help on this part.
Okay. Okay.
So yeah, I'm going to do it right this minute because you know how distracted I am, and I want every single day I say I'm going to do it, and then okay, we can turn the recording off.
Yes.
We